Hi there, folks. Welcome to 7 After 6. I'm Mark Mason Jr., joined by a very special guest today. We're going to go into a little bit of local history, which is our friend here's specialty. We're going to talk about the Pork Barrel Fort, his book, a documented account of the Battle of Cranberry / Goose Creek. Please welcome Paul Beers. Paul, how are you?
Good. And you?
I'm pretty good. So it's sort of a history lesson tonight. We're going to go into a not very well-known battle, the Battle of Cranberry Creek,
Right.
which, Paul, you're kind of an expert on at this point. You've been doing
At
it for a
this
number
point,
of
right.
years. How long have you been doing it, going into this, looking into the battle?
Since 2012.
Which, yeah, I mean,
You know, when they were doing the centennial, I'd also had been retired for a while, and I bought a very good metal detector at the time, and I decided that places I wanted to do, I did, and one of them was Cranberry Creek. Just wanted a cannon shot for my collection of things I found.
the Battle of Cranberry Creek, it's a part of the War of 1812.
Correct.
Infamously known as an undocumented war, which kind of makes sense why not much of this was known until now. And of course, Cranberry Creek is not far from Alexandria Bay. It's in the town
1 mile.
of Alexandria, 1 mile out. And geez, I mean, everybody knows about the Sackett's Harbor one, but
Right.
almost nobody knows about this one. And I mean, you being the expert here, why do you think that is? You know, why do you think at this point we've got a battle not many people know about, and people want to know about it? Why do you think that it's gone so far without this documentation coming out?
For one, it's tough to find, and two, it's not Sackett's Harbor. Nothing against Sackett's Harbor, but there were only 4 battles in Jefferson County. You had Big Sandy, you had Sackett's Harbor, you had French Creek, and you had Cranberry Creek. Out of all those battles, Cranberry Creek was the only one that was planned.
Let's talk about that. It was planned. I think that's very interesting. Could you go into that?
Well, back in June of 1813, there was a gentleman from Watertown named Marinus Gilbert. Now, Marinus was a salter, and that's a person who sells goods on a military base or encampment or whatever, and he was also a privateer. And somehow, through his connections, he had learned of a large shipment going from Montreal to Kingston of military supplies and goods for the men there, and I guess he wanted them. So he had to devise some kind of a plan to get them. Now, the reason I say it's planned is because this is June. The battle didn't happen until the end of July, because in order for him to do it, he had to not only get permission from the commanders, the local commanders, but he also had to post a governmental bond. He had to get 2 letters of marque, one for the Neptune and one for the Fox. The Fox was his boat. And he also had to get a crew. And of the 2 boats, he had to have them fitted with oars so they could row, primarily because their travels were going to be taking them in the evening and not during the daylight hours. So that's why I say it had to have at least a month's preparation time, because things don't work as fast as people would think they should.
Sure. The battle itself seemed to span a day, as we've sort of talked about before the interview here. It started at 3 a.m., as you said, and it went until about, what did you say, 9?
I'm guessing 9. With all that went on, walking around up in there, it takes 3-4 hours to do everything. So, if you're just walking around. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're fighting and they're doing this and they're going back and forth. And
Well, let's go into the battle, what happened, what brought them there that day. I know you sort of mentioned it was planned, and we sort of got into that,
Well,
but let's talk about the battle itself and what really went on there at Cranberry Creek.
okay, when the Fox and the Neptune landed at Cranberry Creek, they sent out a couple of scout boats to find the convoy, because he knew that they were going to be overnighting at Simmons Landing in Rockport. Now, Simmons Landing, for those, I had an awful time finding out what it was, but it's currently where Ed Huck's Marina is right now. And the gentleman that owned it was Caleb Seaman. We pronounce it Seaman. It's Dutch. They pronounce it Simmons.
Oh.
And I have documentation on that because that piece of property was land granted by King George. So he was a loyalist. Well, anyway, they found him, and then early in the morning there, they landed, captured 61 people, 4 officers, a gunboat, and 14 bateaux, and hauled them over to Cranberry Creek without a shot being fired. So, and once they were at Cranberry Creek, this is on the 18th, they immediately sent all the prisoners and officers by land to Sackett's Harbor. Now, they knew that they didn't want to go back by boat because they're hauling, they only have 2 boats. They're hauling 14 bateaux and a gunboat. And it's daytime now. So the British basically controlled that part of the river anyway. So they decided to go back into Cranberry Creek, which I feel was well planned.
Yeah.
And so when word was sent to General Brown that the prisoners were on the way and that they needed reinforcements, General Brown immediately sent a carrier to Captain John Hoover of the militia to organize his men and get there. And this was on the 19th, and on the morning of the 20th, Hoover arrived. So, and that's from where Hoover lived at the time. That's a 10-mile trip. So him and his crew got there. How many was there? I'm thinking about 40, and with about 30 of the other men there's about 70 of the Americans there at that time.
And all of this information that you've sort of compiled in your book is all stuff that you found in documentation from both the British and the American forces.
Correct.
I mean, how did you compile all this stuff? How do you find all these bits of paperwork to piece this all together, and how long did that take?
It was 7 years before I started writing the book. And I didn't really start to think about writing the book until I found Hoover's pension file. And when I found it, it laid everything right out completely. I mean, it was, his pension file is 100 pages long. But not all of it is that. I mean, it had his wives and all that, kids and stuff like that. And plus it had 4, 5, 6 pages or so of the battle there, all handwritten. So, and I don't know if it was handwritten by Hoover or not because he could read and write. But it laid it all out, and I said, well, it's got to be done. Something's got, because nobody else is going to do it, I guess. Nobody's even had an interest in it, I guess.
Well, clearly you've got an interest in it, and more than that, you've even got some pieces here tonight.
Right.
I love to go through this stuff. We were talking about it before, but I love, to delve into it. And you say one of these right there that is just it's the pieces of a gun without the wood there.
Yeah, this is an English pistol. It's a Ketlock 1810. Been authenticated by Sean Rich. He's an antique arms dealer. It was carried by an American militia officer. It has everything is there except the wood. Everything. The barrel has a ball and a patch in it. It did have powder in it, and I drilled it out and flooded it with oil so it wouldn't ignite. You got the lock with a flinch flit, a butt plate, trigger guard, a ramrod pike and the escutcheon plate.
And this is all found right on that property right off
Right.
Cranberry Creek.
Not all at one time.
Yeah.
It took me, I found the lock, the butt plate and screw, and the trigger guard. I think it was in July. And then I found the barrel thing probably a month or so later, probably 20 yards or so away from where I found this. And nothing else. I searched that area and searched that area, nothing. Well, I was up there in I think it was in late October. And I'm just taking a different path, zigzagging in and out, and I get this funny detection.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a piece of barbed wire fence. And that's because of the way the trigger is, and the brass, it gives you a different type of signal,
Yeah.
So I just dug it up, and there it was. Now, that was over 200 yards from the rest of the stuff. So I'm assuming that the thing had been logged in the old days. And I'm assuming that dragging something out moved one thing or the other. I'm not sure which. So.
And you've got, I guess, they have all names, different identifiers. I was going to call them bullets, but they're clearly not bullets.
They're cannon shot.
Cannon shots, yes.
Okay, the large one here is a 2-pounder. And I've got no documented use of a 2-pounder there. The 3 there are swivel gun shots, and both the Neptune and the Fox had swivel guns on them. And the next row is grape shot, which is British because the Americans aren't documented of having a cannon large enough to fire that or the canister shot, which are the smaller ones down in the bottom down there.
And again, all found on that same stretch right on Cranberry Creek.
Yeah.
200-year-old equipment used in a battle nobody really knew about.
Right.
As the guy who's been finding this stuff for well over a decade, I mean, to have this in front of you, is this an accomplishment that you're proud of?
Yes.
Yeah. I can't imagine why you wouldn't be.
Right.
I mean, look, this is so neat.
Yeah, the pistol's my prize find, so.
And the little clear container there, we were talking earlier, those are also...
those are musket balls.
Musket balls.
And some what they call lead canister shot would have been fired by the British. That would be more like a shotgun type thing, where when they fire it, the lead melts. And it just spreads out more than the grape shot does. So they were clearly looking to wound people, so...
Well, Paul, if there's something we didn't talk about that you want to mention about this battle, I'll leave it open to you. But at risk of spoiling the rest of your book, maybe we should save some mystery for the people at home.
Well, actually, there's not. There's that, and there's a lot of. It's really been interesting. The part of the battle that's in the book, I don't mind talking about it.
Sure.
So, was during the heat of the battle, one of the rear boats, the name of it was a British ship, the Brock. There was a Major Fawcett or Captain Fawcett, took his men out. They jumped out of the boat. They waded across the creek and gained access in that lower part of the creek close to where Route 12 is now. And then the British documentation says they pushed forward, and fought the Americans on. Now I got on there, which I didn't mention in the book. Did they push them forward, or did the Americans lead them?
Still a lot of unknown.
It's an unknown, because they were ready for them at the fort, but where they stopped them was a good 1,500, 2,000 yards away from them. So if they wanted them to come back to the fort, they had to kind of lead them but I don't know. As like I say, I can't document. There's no documentation. All I have is the documentation, and if in the book I've got the exact trail they went, and I know it's the trail because as you go along, you find British musket balls that are dropped. Those are ones that when they're reaching in their pouch to grab one out, it falls on the ground or something. It's never been rammed, and it's never been fired. So you know that it's a drop. So you know that a British troop was standing right there where it dropped. So, and then I can document the trail back to the fort. And they established a firing line, probably 50 yards from the fort. And I established that with drops because I found a lot of drops, British drops, in a straight line across there.
Is there a lot left that's not known about this battle?
I would say there's some things that are left that are not known, but you know, I think I've covered a lot of it. There's always more to learn on anything, you know. So
very true. Well, geez, Paul, do you think you're going to keep looking into this?
Oh, I plan on, God willing, I plan on being up in there in the spring. You know.
Still metal detecting, or?
Oh yeah, I still metal detect.
Very good. Well, Paul, I think that might be all the time we have for this interview. But thank you so much, Paul. I hope you enjoyed this.
Glad to be here. I certainly enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Hope you enjoyed it at home, folks. Thanks so much for watching 7 After 6. We'll see you next time.